Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar today. I'm Mariana Stoica, VP of R&D and Professional Services, and I'm very excited to present the latest of our innovations released as part of DBI version 2.5. For the past 7 years, I was lucky to manage an awesome team of software engineers, quality assurance analysts, and product finishers, which help bring to life our two enterprise software products, Dundas Dashboard and Dundas BI. Today, I have with me the leaders of our R&D team, which will demo to you shortly some of the 2.5 key features. They are Adrian Dobrin, Director of Data and Analytics, Jamie Charonka, Director of Data Visualizations, Rob Siklosh, Director of Framework and Tools, and Terrence Shefflin, Director of UI UX. In today's agenda, we'll start by giving you a brief overview of Dundas and Dundas BI, including 2.5 features. Will be followed by a demo of the 2.5 features by our 4 directors. We'll be discussing what are the next steps that you can take in order to get more information about the product and about us, and we'll finish with Q&A session. Do be aware that you can submit your questions through our chat, and we'll be responding all your questions at the end of the webinar. So let's start by giving you a quick overview of our company. As many of you might know already, we have been providing services in software and data visualization marketplace for over 20 years. Our office is in Toronto, Canada, and from here we manage all our business functions, right from development to sales, support, and training. If there is one word that will describe Dundas and Dundas R&D, would be innovation. The ability to continuously innovate allowed us to develop software that meets the needs of different types of users in BI world, from BI creators to consumers of BI, and from business users to software developers. After our visualization components were sold to Microsoft in 2007, we followed up by releasing in 2009 Dundas Dashboard, a rich data visualization software which has now thousands of users around the world. And in 2014, we released Dundas Business Intelligence, or shortly, DBI, which we followed this year with 2 major versions, and the latest one being 2.5. For those of you who are new to Dundas BI is a flexible, enterprise-ready business intelligence platform which allows users in different roles and with different skills to prepare, analyze, present, and view their data. Whether a content consumer or a creator, you will benefit from our tailored reporting, dashboards, and analytics experience on any device across all your data sources. If you are a business user and you need to create pixel-perfect dashboards without having to worry how your data is structured, then you get on-the-fly data analysis. Our powerful design functionality will enable you to explore, analyze data, and create your BI content on any device. If you are a technical data analyst and need to prepare data to be consumed by others, then you get the very visual ETL designer. If you are an IT user concerned about security, version control, controlling the deployments, the application was developed with your requirements in mind, and you will get this functionality out of the box to use either through UI or APIs. If you are a software developer integrator, then you will benefit from our fully enabled public APIs, which will allow you to customize, extend, embed, and integrate to meet any business requirements. So why customers do choose us? It is for our flexibility that our products will give to your user and your organization, for our data visualization expertise proven for the past 20 years, and for our customers' focus through our excellent support and professional services groups. Dundas BI version follows the same focus and goals that we had for BI from the beginning: to make data analytics more intuitive and with performance in mind, to provide access to you as a user to more data, to provide you the right visualizations for the right data, to give you the ability to design pixel-perfect dashboards and reports, to provide you with the flexibility that you need to govern, embed, integrate, and extend, and to continue to listen to you, our customers. In this version, we have over 100 features, which cover all the mentioned areas. To name a few, you can connect to more data, such as Google BigQuery, analyze your data faster and easier through our new drop zones in data visualization, save and recall your personal settings when view your dashboards or reports, monitor who is using your dashboards, and as well their performance. So let's get started with 2.5 demo. and with Jamie, which will be presenting what is new in data visualization and reports functionality.
Thanks, Mariana. My name is Jamie. I'm one of the directors for R&D for the data visualization team. So I'm going to go over these new features we've added in version 2.5 for data visualizations, as well as the scorecard and multi-page report designer. First, this is a pie chart, also known as a sunburst diagram because it has multiple levels. What we've added to all of the chart types is this option to right-click and expand. This is similar to the drill down option, which we already had, but rather than filter out all of the rest of the data, it keeps the original data displayed as context. So you have both options available to you depending on what you want to do. This is also available for a tree map. You can right click and expand or collapse. Table visualizations always had this option, but using these buttons displayed directly in the table. What we've added in version 2.5 is the option to collapse, even if the data is actually organized into two separate hierarchies. So you can drill up and get a more of a summary view. If the data is in a different order, we're going to display an expander button like this because this is a hierarchy with multiple levels. But you can still collapse using those same right-click menu options we've added in version 2.5. I'm quickly going to show we've added some more finely grained options for totals. This table, has just the total for all of the geographical regions under each year. No grand total and no subtotal for Midwest here after I expand. This table is the opposite. So these are all separate options that you can set. Also new is a new large number formatting feature. This is similar to the formatting we already had on chart axes, but it's now available for tables and the tooltips displayed in all visualizations, as well as the data labels. So as you can see, these numbers are all displayed as thousands. Even though this number is much larger, it's displayed with the K to denote thousands, just to keep the numbers comparable, so that you can see this number is larger because of the additional digits that you can see visually. But if you're not really comparing the values and you're just listing them, or you prefer otherwise, you can format the numbers separately as well. So this is formatted as millions and the rest is thousands. This feature will adjust automatically if your data changes. When editing, what we've added are some new drop zones that make it easier to choose how the data is displayed. So these options were always available, but now you'll get the choice as you're dragging and dropping. So if I drag data here, I can choose between these three options that the table has. If I drop that onto row header, it's displayed as row headers on the left. I can also choose to drop something onto column header. So this displays a column header for each year because I dropped date, and it groups the data under it. This is similar for scatter plots. For charts. For example, I'll try a scatter plot here. If I wanted to specifically drop a measure onto the horizontal axis, I can do that. And then group by a hierarchy. You can also choose to just drop data directly onto the data binding panel that appears, and that will continue to do what it normally did before this version. here I'm going to show the new automatic box plot option. So if you choose, rather than just the box plot chart type, you can choose under the formula heading, the summarize with box plot formula option. This is going to calculate the values automatically needed to summarize the distribution of data as a box and whisker diagram. So I'm going to drop a measure and then choose to view the distribution of data for a bunch of different products. As you can see, what it's doing here initially is displaying what's called a strip plot, which is just a bunch of semi-transparent dots. It's useful on its own because it allows you to see that there's more data, for example, at the bottom because it's darker here. You can choose to just use this chart on its own, or set up a chart like this on your own using bindings. But I can also choose right now to add a box plot on top of this to summarize the distribution, or I can keep going. So if I drop date, I can group by date and group the data into multiple series if I choose. When I'm ready, I can click add box plot and it will add a box plot series on top. I can choose to customize further if I want to, but this is an easy way to see the summary of, the distribution of data. Here I'm going to show quickly just where we already had the option, already had the data brushing feature between charts, and the legend would also show which series is being highlighted. The reverse is now true. So if you wanted to focus on a particular series, this is making it easier using the legend of the chart, as well as moving over a particular data point. And below here, you may have been somewhat distracted by this flashing data label. That's the data change animation that we added in version 2 to tables. We've added the same thing to data labels in version 2.5. That's useful for a data label or another visualization that's automatically refreshing. It will call your attention to it. And now I'll just quickly show a pretty detailed scorecard that demonstrates some of the new options we've added to the toolbar of the scorecard designer, where we had we've added the option for data bar. This is a customized data bar. Normally it would just be a single simple horizontal bar, but it is a chart, so it's customizable. This is a spark line, and this is what's known as a horizontal scatter plot. So if I edit this, I can show you these options are, they were always possible before, but they're available in the toolbar. It's also possible to add an axis in the header or footer, as well as set up the subtle alternating colors that were visible in the background using these properties. The background palette, and the if you choose, you can show a separator line in between the rows. We've made some overall updates to the designer as well to make it easier to use. To line up controls, just make things go more smoothly. Now I'm going to pass it on to Adrian.
Thank you, Jamie. My name is Adrian Dobrin, and I am Director for Data and Data Analytics. Without further ado, I'd like to start by showing some of the new features present in the Data Cube Designer. I have prepared for this exercise a Data Cube based on the AdventureWorks database. There are two select transforms inside this Data Cube. One of them is not connected, and in fact the system is warning me that I have this situation present. Now, prior to this change, you would have to actually select the connecting line, search for the joint transform, insert it, configure it, and so on. With this change, it is quite simple. Now, all you have to do is drag the unconnected transform either on the first select transform or on the result. The system will automatically detect that a join is necessary. It will edit and configure it for you, if a relationship is found, of course. Another thing that you may notice is that the transforms are now color-coded. All the select transforms come in blue, the result is purple, and all the processing transforms are actually gray. There are two other additional color codes that are interesting to notice, and I'm going to show them by adding a filter transform as well as a pivot transform. Yellow, or kind of orange, denotes the fact that this transform is not configured, but it does not impede on the functionality of the data cube. So it actually works as a pass-through transform. The red color denotes the fact that this transform is not configured, but that configuration is actually required. Without configuring it, the data cube will not work. Another thing that may be interesting for coders, people that are actually using scripts in their transforms, is that trace statements are now outputted to the admin log. So that will make debugging easier for the server side. Version 2.5 also adds two new data providers. I'm talking about Google BigQuery and Google Sheets. For both these two data providers, you need to have an active service account with Google. You're going to receive a P12 configuration file from Google, which you'll have to enter in the configuration screen. You'll have to enter your service account email address. Once these steps are done, you can actually view and discover your testing project. Once these steps are done and the data connectors are created, you can start using these data sources like any other one. In my case, I'm going to use this particular project. I'm going to drag a measure on the hierarchy, and you can see it works like any other spreadsheet, like any other SQL Server database. The same thing with Google Sheets, where after you enter your credentials, you're going to be able to access whatever shared sheets you have in the account. Once this is done, again, following the same pattern, you can start using that spreadsheet like any other source. Another new feature, which has actually been requested by many of our customers, is a new reporting or manufacturing calendar. We do now offer such a time hierarchy, and this time hierarchy can be configured according to your company rules. You can choose among the available rules, you can choose a starting date, you can choose a time periods. Once this configuration is done, you can actually start using it like any other time hierarchy. In my case, I'm interested to view the order quantity, the total due, based on the order date, and I'm going to automatically promote this order date using the new reporting calendar. And the nice thing about this reporting calendar is that it combines years and months with the actual weeks. Finally, I'd like to speak about some enhancements that our built-in functions now offer for our users. For example, the trend and forecast function required previously the use of an alignment axis such as time. Now, this is not necessary any longer. All these functions have been updated to work with numerical hierarchies as well as with measures only. In fact, in this case, I have a scatter plot chart and it displays total due by freight. So both axes are measures. And I'm going to add the trend and forecast on this chart. I'm going to use the freight as an alignment axis, and I'm going to use the total due for the actual computations. For the rest of the settings, I'm going to leave the default values. I'm going to apply the function. This present moment is not quite visible because it's still using a point type chart. And I'm going to change this to an actual line. And now you can see I have added the trend to this scatter plot chart. For the UI and the user experience features present in 2.5, I'd like to let my colleague Terrence speak.
Thanks, Adrian. So I'm Terrence, and I'm one of the R&D directors for UI and UX, and I'm going to be showing you some of the general usability enhancements. And while the features you've seen already involve UI, which I was involved in, I'm going to be focusing on just the more usability-centric ones and that are general. So let's take a look. So the first one that we're going to look at is the ability to view all data connectors powering a dashboard. So what that means is for any dashboard you have listed here, you can right-click and go to Properties. And at the bottom is this References button, which you can click. And that's always been there. And what it shows is the metric sets that are directly referenced by this dashboard, which you can see in this list. What's new is this Show Recursive References button. And when you check this, we basically show the data connectors and OLAP cube or the SQL tables, which this dashboard is relying on. So this makes it very easy to see what's being used by a specific dashboard, as well as to help identify any problems or anything like that. So the next thing we're going to look at is the ability to search measures and hierarchies, as well as setting up states against datetime. So for searching, this is in the data binding panel, which you can see here. And you can now click on the bottom, click to add. And if you click that, it'll give you the full list of compatible items with, in this case, the measures. So I can also type in here to search, so I can quickly see and find elements within my OLAP cube or my SQL table to add to my visualization. Under data tools here, we have this setup state button. So if you click this, we can also add a state group, which we've been able to do before. But what's new here is that if you add it against a date time hierarchy, like this date calendar one, you have some additional options, such as greater than or less than or equal to. So if I choose, for example, 2007, and then I click less than or equal to, so less than or equal to 2007, and I apply this, what ends up happening is it colors, for series 1 in this case, all the points that are less than 2007. So this is very useful if you want to do states against members instead of measures. So as well, we have this new edit visualization and full screen editor. So if you have any visualization selected, you can go to data tools and there's this new button, edit full screen. So when you click this, basically it shows your visualization in full screen and you can make some changes in the properties or whatever you want. And when you're done, there's this back to dashboard button in the top left, and you can click that and it'll bring you back and apply any of the changes that you made. So next we're going to look at some of the new templates that ship with version 2.5, as well as some helpful text guidance. So in Dundas BI version 2.5, if you say new dashboard, you'll notice there's now some templates listed here. So these ship with the product, and the idea is to help users quickly create dashboards which are nice looking. So if I click one here, I end up with a pre-populated template basically. So users can then, for example, double click the title
and type something in. And additionally, they can just start dragging in their data. So drag here, and I can, for example, revisualize this to a line. And I can even apply any themes that come with the product by just dragging them in as well, or maybe this purple one or something. So the idea here is users can quickly and very easily create something that looks good and feel that they can get useful information out of it and use their data without worrying too much about having to lay it out or something like this. As well, if you create a new dashboard that is based on blank, so nothing there, we now also provide some text in the background to kind of guide them as to what to do, so they're not totally lost if they're a brand new user. So next we're going to look at the HTML text component. So under components, we have some new things such as this tile navigation, but we're going to look at the HTML label. So how this control works is just like the label, except that you are now able to also type HTML. So I can type strong and you can see it's used the encoding that I typed, the HTML, in order to format the text. So this is very useful for getting formatted text, and you can use any valid HTML and it'll work. So next we're going to look at dynamic element filters. So I have a dashboard here. So how these dynamic element filters work is it allows viewers who may be not necessarily SSBI users, as in they're not business analysts, to quickly slice and dice their data in a very controlled way. So how they're added is for any metric set that you have with the data binding panel, you can see I've added a dynamic hierarchy here. And you can find it by going click to add, and it's always at the bottom, dynamic hierarchy. Once you've added it, you can say which hierarchy or measure that you want it to show. In this case, I've set it to nothing. So it's on the columns, but it's set to nothing, so there's only one series, and it's showing order quantity by product. And then I clicked filter, and I added a dynamic element filter, which is this control here. So that's it. That's all you need to do. And then when a viewer comes here, they can basically expand this list, and they can say, hey, I want to see my data by modified date. So here it is by modified date. Or instead, I want to see it by first name. So here it is by first name. So this provides a very controlled environment for them to slice and dice their data and still get results. So this control is customizable through the properties. You can choose which elements, hierarchies, or measures you want to show up in it. So it's a very controlled experience, and it can be very useful for the viewers to use. And lastly, I'm going to show some of the new filter control options, the slider and the member customization. So if I go to this dashboard here, so here I have a pie chart, and this control here is the slider control. So you can find that again under filter and slider. It's new in there, and basically how the slider works is it's a numeric filter, and you can drag it around or you can click in order to filter your data in a kind of a very easy way. And this works with tablets or phones as well, so they can just drag the handle with their finger and they'll get similar results. And here I have a regular member filter, which shows all the countries in this case, Australia, Canada, etc. So one of the things that's new is you can now customize that list. For example, if I go to show in members here, I can say I only want them to work with Canada, France, and Germany, and also I don't want to show the all item. So what happens when I make this customization is this list now only shows Canada, France, and Germany, and then that's all the users see to deal with. And if I select them, it'll filter appropriately, just like always. So that's it for my part, and next I'm going to turn it over to Rob, who's going to be talking about the administration and framework part, what's new in 2.5.
Thanks, Terrence. So my name is Rob Siklos, and I work on the framework and tool side of things for Dundas BI. Today I'm going to talk about some new features for multi-tenant deployments, as well as new stuff related to administration and integration. For those of you using the multi-tenancy features, we have a couple new things in this area. As you may or may not know, Dundas BI allows for override files for JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. These files let you customize the look and feel, as well as many aspects of the behavior of Dundas BI. New with 2.5, we've extended this functionality so that now you can add further overrides on a per tenant basis. This makes it really easy to do things like have your customer's logo or branding appear on the logon page depending on which customer actually comes there. Second, we've extended our API so that you now have the ability to create an extension which Dundas BI will use to read and manage information about tenants. This can be very useful if you've already got a database containing your list of tenants and you don't want to duplicate and keep that information up to date in Dundas BI. Your extension will simply read whatever data source you've already got and return the relevant parts to the application. Now for some stuff about administration and integration. First, we've got a new feature called Anonymous Logon, and what this does is it allows you to have a user automatically logged on when somebody browses to the system. Previously, you would have had to have them enter their credentials at the login page or have some back-end integration to log them in automatically. Now this feature's built into the app. Here I've got the account edit screen for this Anon user that I created earlier. It's a standard user with a floating seat. He's got a display name of Anonymous Webinar. Don't let him change his password or her password. And I'll set up a default view for this user so that when they log on, they'll automatically go to this person list dashboard. Now, in order for this to work, there's a couple configuration settings I need to set up. So I've got that open on this tab. If you go to the web application category, you'll see at the top here, we've got anonymous username and password. I fill in the corresponding values here. And now, if I go and log out and take off the logon page, I get log on automatically. It goes to the dashboard I set up, this person list dashboard, which seems to be taking a while to log on or to show. And if I open up the home screen, you can see I've been logged on as the correct user. Let me log out of here and go back in as admin. The next new feature is that we are now able to show the IP address of the most recent logon for a specific account. So if you go to the account edit screen, there's going to be a new field there that'll show you that IP address. Next, there's a new feature in the framework which now tracks the maximum number of floating seats used in any given month. This is useful if, say, you've purchased 25 floating seats for standard users and you want to know how close you are to hitting that limit. We expose this functionality through a database view called vSession Usage History. Here's a screenshot of this view which exposes the data. Here we see that 19 standard users were logged on concurrently at some point in the month of October. If I had, let's say, 25 available seats, it might be an indication that it's time to add more. One of the biggest enhancements on the integration side is that you can now specify parameter values in the URL of a dashboard, report, or scorecard in a human-readable format. This is great for when you want to build integration into your company portal, for instance, so that when a dashboard is loaded, it has its parameter values pre-selected depending on some variables that come from other systems in your organization. Here's an example of this in action. So I've got a dashboard here which is showing data for all years. Maybe I want to provide links in my company portal which opens a dashboard only with specific years. One link for 2011, one for 2012, and so on. So what I can do is modify the URL and I'll add something here that says the value of the order date filter is going to be a date range between January 1st, 2011 and December 31st, 2011. If I browse to that URL, you'll see the same dashboard. It's limited here and we can prove it by showing in this date range filter that we've actually got the correct dates. Obviously, you can modify the dates. Let's say I want to see all the way to the end of 2012 and I reload that. We've got both of them there now. Here's an example, again, of what I added to that URL to make it show that filter. And here's a list of some of the other examples that you can use to filter the query strings. There's quite a number of different ways to use it for all the different kinds of controls, and there's going to be all sorts of examples like this published for you to have a look at. Finally, I'm going to show one of the new system health dashboards that can be installed with Dundas BI, the Performance Tracking Dashboard. This dashboard lets you analyze the performance of metric sets across projects and dashboards, allowing you to identify the ones which are maybe not performing as well as they should. From inside Dundas BI, I can open this dashboard, and as you can see, it shows me a bunch of stats. At the top here, I can filter by project or dashboard. I've got a date range filter as well, but here's really the guts of the dashboard. So first of all, it's showing me what's the worst metric set in my whole system. And it's called full names. It's in the person list dashboard, report, or scorecard, and that's in the global project. I can see it's been loaded 14 times. The maximum load time was over 5.5 seconds. The average load time a little bit less, and it's got some other stats there as well. You can see the system's maximum and average load times over the last, let's say, I think it's 30 days. You can click on here to get more information. You can also get additional details by drilling down in the bottom section. Here, I'll open up the global project. I see that's the one that has the problematic metric set. I can see it's in the person list dashboard, and inside there, again, the full names metric set. And yeah, the average load time of that metric set was almost 4 seconds, which is not that great. What I can then do is have a look at this dashboard, have a look at the metric set, figure out if there's anything weird going on, and look at the underlying structures and see if those are causing any issues. There's always a help overlay that will show you how to use the various parts of the dashboard. That's it for my stuff, so back over to Mariana for the wrap-up.
Thank you, Rob. And with this, we have concluded the demo part of our webinar today. If you'd like to know more, do contact our team to request a demo of the full application, or use our online version to get familiar with it, or you can upgrade or download it for the first time. In addition, our support group is here to help you, so do not hesitate to ask them any questions that you might have. And now we are open for questions. Thank you.